What about tight ends? Who do we like this week more than usual?
Yeah, David Njoku's coming off a bye. And before the bye, he had a bad game. He had just 7.9 points, which is kind of mid for a tight end. Well, it's actually not that bad. I guess tight ends are pretty bad this year, but I had to get mid in for Lindsay. But he had scored 17 plus in his previous 2 games. And in week 11, he's got the Saints. They've given up at least 9.1 fantasy points to 7 different tight ends, including Jatavian Sanders, Luke Schoonmaker, and Lindsay's Will Dissly. So Njoku, I mean, at this point, is probably a must start. So maybe that is a little bit of low-hanging fruit. But how about Jonnu Smith? Jonnu Smith's been more involved in the passing game lately. At least 6 targets in 4 of his last 5 games. He's got the Raiders this week. They've allowed 25 or more points to 2 tight ends in the last 2 games. And no defense in the league has given up more fantasy points to tight ends than Las Vegas dating back to week 7. So if you are in a pinch, Jonnu Smith is available and potentially in your starting lineup this week.
There, who are we sitting?
2 players that are going to be in a lot of lineups. Evan Engram is one of them. And I get it. You know, you got 4 teams off. How do you not play them? But the Lions defense has allowed 1 tight end to score double digits against them. 1. That's it. Okay. And they have faced Trey McBride, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, Dalton Schultz, and none of them did anything against Detroit. What's more, Mac Jones is starting again this week. You know what his passer rating was last week, Lindsay? It was 38.3. I mean, and then Jake Ferguson against the Texans. And maybe this is one of those like, damn it, the Cowboys stink. I'm sitting Jake Ferguson. I can't deal with it. And maybe I'm going to be guilty of that. But this is a player who had just 5 targets and was held to 4.4 points last week. Cooper Rush looked awful. Trey Lance is not good. And the Texans defense has allowed 1 tight end to beat them for more than 13.1 points this season. Just 1. So it's not a great matchup for Jake Ferguson. I mean, you may want to go with Jonnu Smith over Jake Ferguson this week. That's certainly an option. And I'll give you another player. If Dalton Kincaid does not go this week, Dawson Knox should be very, very startable against Kansas City.